Got a closet door here, and we're gonna install 2 tracks using Johnson pocket door hardware. So with my daughter here, we're gonna show you how to do this. First thing we're gonna do is measure the opening. We're right at 58, so we're gonna cut our track at 57 3/4. And they decided they want the valance to go right along the seam and the track to go right there. So that's where we're going to line up the front edge of our front track, and then we'll just put the tracks against each other. The tracks screw in directly. So I just put the first track in place right on my line. I put a screw at each end, a 2-inch screw. Double check with my valance. That's going to look perfect when we're done. Put the track in first and then level it. So this needs to come down. Now we can check it and see our bubble. Doesn't have to be perfect. These trucks each have 3 wheels. So you want to put in one this way and one that way, and that balances the door. It's not critical, but it is a best practice. We have our tracks in place, they're level. We have our wheels in place. This bracket is going to attach to the top of the door, and then it's going to snap onto the wheel like that. So that represents the top of our door. Let's look down at our floor guide. So the door is going to go between these floor guides because that keeps the doors from flopping around. From the floor guide to the bottom of that bracket, you see that's 78 1/4. So we're going to cut a 1/4 inch off the door. So we'll have a 1/4 inch of clearance, and we still have room to raise and lower the door. Give it a light sand just to take off the edges. This is the locking mechanism. You want to put this on the side that's facing wherever it is you're going to be installing the door from. Since we're going to be putting up a valance, we may have to install or remove the doors from inside of the closet in the future. So you want these facing the inside. So it's not as critical now. You just want each bracket facing the same way. I just want the center of the wheel at 3 inches. And then I put this center right over that line, and you want to center up the bracket on the door this way. Okay, so you just kind of eye it up right there and then mark these. We're going to be using these screws that come with the bracket, and they're very heavy duty. You just put these in, especially with the 1 3/8 interior door, you can split that door wide open. So definitely pre-drill it. It's important. So when you're installing these, we're going to start with the inside door first. So you need to determine which is going to be the inside door. Here's the general rule of thumb. When you walk into the main entrance of a door, of a room, which would be right here, the first door you see should be the outermost door. That way you don't see the gap between the doors. So when you walk into the room, if this door was back here and the front door was right here, when you walk in, you'd see right in this gap. It certainly wouldn't bother me, but it does bother some people. So instead, we'll make this door the outside door. So when you walk in, you don't see that gap. You see the nice overlap. It's a better look. We have our wheels in there, so what I'm gonna do is tilt the door. So you see, you have to get the wheel between the screw and the hole. You gotta get it in there, and then you tilt it up in there, and then you push it. And then when you feel, you don't have to lock it, but you can just feel that. Once you feel that, you can just lift this up and you feel how that rolls back and forth. So then you do the same thing here, and it's very easy with 2 people, but I do it alone. And then that's in there. We don't have to lock it. We've got nice clearance here, but when we go here, it's hitting, and that's a lot. By turning these, we can raise the door. Our door hits. We did leave room. We could raise and lower the door still, but not a lot. So we're not going to mess around with it. We're going to put this here, which is about a 1/4 inch of clearance. So if we cut the door right here, that'll give us the clearance that we need. The door cannot go higher than this. So we have plenty of room. Could have gone more aggressive with our initial cutting, but That's why we test it. So once you have your doors in the way you want them and you have them adjusted, we're going to put in the floor guides. This keeps the doors from flopping around like this. There's lots of different kinds. I just like this one. And it's also made by Johnson, and it's sold in the same department as all the other parts. So you want to get it in there, put your two doors together, and you want to get it in so that the door cannot go past the guide. So see, if the guide is right there, no matter which way the door goes, it can't go past the guide. And you want to just kind of let the doors fall and put it wherever they sit naturally. Sometimes, depending on what you use, you have to make marks, remove the doors, and then put in the guide. Sometimes you can get the guide in with the doors in place. In this one, it's a pretty extreme angle, and I am going into hardwood, so I'm going to pop these doors out. So what I do first is mark this thing. Since that's where I want the guide, right there, just mark it in some manner. You can mark the holes or just mark the edge. So when you've got the doors like that, I just pop off one side and just tilt the door up and put it back on. Very easy. Pop, now I just set it back in and reconnect it up here. Now with our doors in, double check everything. The guides are working just fine. Nothing's rubbing. Now you go ahead and lock these wheels into place. When installing the pulls, you have to make sure the doors are oriented the way they want them. In other words, which one's in front, which one's in back. This is how they want it. The rest of the doorknobs in the house are at 36 inches, so we'll put the center of this at 36 inches. They're using these standard door pulls, which are 2 1/8 inches in diameter. I use the hole saw with the shorter bit, and I also put this tape here. I know I can't go beyond the tape. So, and you don't have to go real deep. Some are a little more difficult than others. This is, actually a pine door, so got some wood in it. That thing should sit in there nicely, and it does. So you put these things in here, and they give you these 2 nails. Find that it's easier to start them with the set of needle nose pliers. Here.